This beautiful looking building behind me is the Arcade Restaurant, reportedly the oldest diner in Memphis, and perhaps more importantly, a favourite haunt of Elvis Presley. He had his own favourite booth just inside that window there. Now, I've come to Memphis with my band, the Dodge Brothers, to record at Sun Studios, which of course is where Elvis famously recorded. I'm a huge Elvis fan, always have been, grew up loving Elvis's music, read loads and loads of books about Elvis, loads of Elvis memorabilia. But the one thing that every Elvis fan struggles with to some extent is the movies. See, I love movies, I love Elvis, but I don't necessarily love Elvis movies. Elvis himself said in the '68 comeback special that he made 20 odd movies with one expression, that. But was Elvis ever going to make it as a movie star? If you look at the early Elvis movies, I think there is evidence that he was a pretty good actor. You look at a film like, for example, King Creole. It's a gritty story, it's a proper story, it's got a narrative and a screenplay and a proper script, and Elvis is actually pretty good in it. At that point in his life, he really wanted to be Marlon Brando. He didn't really want to be a rock and roll star. He wanted to be taken seriously as an all-round entertainer, perhaps in the same way that Frank Sinatra was a singer and taken seriously as an actor. Then you look at something like Jailhouse Rock. It's got that brilliantly choreographed musical set piece in the middle, which of course Elvis himself choreographed, and the camera loves him. It's clear he's got star quality. He's got everything that a star needs to make it in the movies. Then he goes into the army, comes out of the army, and there's a succession of increasingly tepid, boring, and ultimately incredibly disappointing movies. Why? Well, because Colonel Tom Parker had figured out a way of him earning $1 million a movie, but didn't care what the movies were like. So he ended up making movies like Tickle Me, and believe me, no matter how much of an Elvis fan you are, it's really hard to like a film like Tickle Me. Now, in the midst of all this, there are occasional lights in the darkness. A film like Viva Las Vegas, it's pretty hard to resist. It's funny and sexy and charming and kooky and all the rest of it. But there is a great slew of Kissing Cousins and that kind of movie in which you just think this really isn't doing anyone any favours, even if it's paying the bills. Personally, I think there are some interesting movies like Change of Habit towards the end of that run, which at least he's trying to do something different, he's branching out. And of course the great sadness is that Elvis did have the chance to co-star with Barbra Streisand in the remake of A Star Is Born, which could potentially have been a great role for him. He wanted to do it, Barbra Streisand wanted him to do it, but then Colonel Tom Parker reportedly said, well, he can only do it if he gets top billing. They said, well, no, it's Barbra Streisand's movie, which of course it was. Elvis lost the role, it ended up going to Chris Christopherson, the rest is history. Now, call me a sentimental old fool, but I still think that when you look at the early movies, at things like King Creole, that there is a possibility that Elvis could have been an Oscar-winning actor. In fact, there's an Elvis conspiracy theorist called Gail Brewer-Giorgio who believes that Elvis faked his own death, wrote a couple of books, Is Elvis Alive? No. And The Elvis Files. And she argues that having faked his own death, Elvis would then reappear in public as an Elvis impersonator called Orion, a very good Elvis impersonator. She then suggests that Orion, the Elvis impersonator, had a hand in setting up the Orion Film Studios, which of course were the film studios behind Silence of the Lambs, which won the Oscar for Best Picture, which means that in some strange alternative universe, Elvis did indeed win an Oscar. My question to you is this. I know that when it comes to Elvis, I'm not entirely rational. I know that most of his films were not very good at all, and yet there are still a few that I cherish and hold dear. What about you? Are there any Elvis films that you like? And if so, what are they? What's your guilty pleasure? We all know that Elvis's film catalogue is a pretty wobbly affair, but what's the one or two Elvis movies that stand out for you? What's the movies that come on the television and you think, you know what, I'll actually watch that? Or do you think they're all just rubbish?
Thank you very much.